So our first order of business is election of officers, so entertain a motion to a slate of officers, or Julian? Rex, you got anything? No.
I would recommend that Brad serve as president. Who's interested in vice president? Chris Cox is vice president, and I would be honored to continue to serve as secretary and recommend that slate.
Oh, thank you. All right, we have a.
Make a motion to close the nominations.
All right, thank you. So we have a motion by Mr. Ryker, second by Mr. Booth, for the slate of officers as Brad Monts as president, Chris Cox as vice president, and Rex Ryker as secretary. Any questions? Call for vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. All right, approved. 4-0. All right, well, thank you, and we'll move on to item 2, which is approval of the minutes from December 9th. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Booth, second by Mr. Cox. Any questions? Okay, call for a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much. And we'll move on to our public hearing.
Yes, you have a public hearing today on your declaratory resolution. In December, you passed a declaratory resolution which would carve out from the general Nucor allocation area a parcel that has been acquired by Nucor Towers to the east of its current location. And the rationale for this is that the RDC has ongoing obligations to extend water to the east if the new parcel is ever developed upon. And so this would allow you to capture it in the same allocation area as Nucor Towers in order to fund that water project or some other project that would be needed. As part of the process, the Planning Commission was required, after your declaratory resolution, to make a finding that your declaratory resolution was consistent with the plan of development in the county, and it did so. The county commissioners were also required to affirm the order of the Planning Commission, and now it comes back to you for a public hearing. Notice of this public hearing was published as required by law in the newspapers, and also a notice of the financial impacts was sent to all the affected taxing entities. I'm going to ask Mr. Peters to just summarize those tax impacts, and then we'll open it up, thank you, for a public hearing. And then after the public hearing, you'll be able to vote on resolution 2026-1, which is just the confirmatory resolution.
Thank you. Jeff Peters, Financial Advisor to the Redevelopment Commission. What we prepared for you, I don't know if you can bring that up.
Yep, 1 second.
We kind of summarize it on pages 7 and 8.
7 and 8.
Not that one. I just sent you an email.
Another one?
No, I sent you one just this morning.
Yeah, that's the one that I've got.
I was in charge of it, sorry. My AI robot will try to get into any meeting.
Recording in progress.
Yeah, this is the one you sent me
That's
this
what I
morning.
sent you this morning? Sorry.
It's okay.
In theory, what we do when we set these up and look at the tax impact, we try and estimate what it is that the area potentially will develop into, so that we can have an estimate of what impact it might have on incremental revenue and impact to the assessed value of the tax base. So we have looked at that parcel of property, and assuming that it would develop the same as the main campus of new core towers and structures today, based on that acreage. They don't use all of their acreage for, pure development purposes. But if we look at that, what we come to is, for the real property investment, it would be about $5.8 million in real property that would develop if it was the same as what's sitting at the new core towers campus today. The current assessed value that's sitting there in that parcel is $81,800. So that would continue to be in the tax base that is shared with the library, the school, the county, etc. And then you would be looking at capturing anything above that. In addition to the physical plant that is located at new core towers, they have a significant amount of personal property. So we did the same analysis of the personal property on that same footprint would produce about $30,600,000 in investment. We made the assumption as well that it would be subject to a 30% depreciation floor, which would give you about $19 million in personal property assessed value. So between the real and the personal, it would be about $15 million in assessed value. We looked at jobs on that same basis. We would assume there would be about 46 jobs added as well. And the estimated wage, we just looked at what previously new core towers had reported, which was $75,000. And if we look at that, I don't know if that came up yet.
You send it again?
Okay, that is not what I see when I send it.
Okay.
So we'll just talk through it then. So if we had about $15 million in new incremental assessed value against the tax rate that is there today, which is $1.52 per hundred, it would produce about $227,000 a year in revenue. Now the impact to the underlying taxing entities, and again, this is like what we do at the annual presentation, where we look at if we added $15 million approximately to the tax base, which would mean that all of this development would occur without the input of the Redevelopment Commission, additional incentives, the water line that Dave was talking about you're obligated to, or any other improvements. But for this analysis, we do that where we put together what that would look like. The tax rate today, as I said, is $1.52. Precisely, it's 1.5247. Of that, 5.5 cents is fixed rate funds, which is the county's cumulative capital development fund and Union Township's cumulative building and equipment fund. If we were to add that $15 million to the tax base, the rate would potentially drop from 1.5247 to 1.5084. If we did that, we would have fewer properties that would qualify for the 1%, 2%, and 3% tax caps. And we've estimated that impact would be about $413 for the year, spread across those units of government that also provide service to that area. So for the county, it would be about $110 for the year. Union Township, it would be about $19 for the year. South Montgomery Schools would be about $261 for the year. And the Crawfordsville Public Library, about $23 for the year. In addition to, if you added $15 million to the tax base, those units of government that have fixed rate funds, the county with their CCD fund, and Union Township with their township, it would be about $3,499. So the total of tax, circuit breaker, and all impact annually would be about $9,281 for all of those units of government versus you collecting as a body about $227,000 a year, which would be used toward projects that should, again, benefit all. And again, for this exercise, it does not assume that you had to make expenditures to make that development happen, which again, you have obligations to do that, and very likely you would have to provide other incentives in order to get that development as you've done over the past as the Redevelopment Commission. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
So just for clarification, that's just based on extrapolating once there now, you have the parking towers and structures about their plans or anything? That's
Correct.
just if they invest in
What
this.
we have heard is that there are no concrete plans for that. So my best assumption is if they own it and it's part of their campus, it would be a duplicate of what's there today.
Okay.
Yeah, we have no information about plans, we're just required
Right.
to extrapolate.
Sure. And if we don't do this is going to be a dumb question, but if we don't sign this resolution, then that investment would just go into a general fund instead of into the,
Well, you could do it at a later date if they come up with concrete plans, and we could redo this exercise.
but right now, this area is not part of the TIF at all?
It is part of the original TIF area,
Okay.
so what we would be doing is carving it out and then putting it into the new TIF area, which is specific only to tower construction. And that way you'll be prepared if they do some sort of expansion. You won't need to go through any process. It will already be there to capture that revenue.
Okay. Thanks.
And the estimate of the water extension, the most recent figures we have is that would be $800 to $1 million for that extension. So that's what we're targeting, which would make Jeff's proposed, stream of income each year more than sufficient to pay for that project. 227 would be generated under his formula. The known obligation is about $1 million.
And this is to the, you said to the east, correct?
Correct.
I gotta think one direction.
Yeah, that's what I was
For the new road.
Yeah, towards the front, okay. Okay.
Is there any obligation or any talk about sewer, extending the sewer in that direction? We talk about water extension, but there's sewer too.
Right, well, there's been no discussion, but if they needed it, yeah, we've got it right there at the T at 500.
And that would be the sewer district's issue to take care of, or would they come to us?
No, that will, it'd be their problem, they may come to you, but I don't know, they're doing a little better.
I mean, we don't have to really factor that in.
No one has to deal with that yet, right now. But again, if you had to, yeah, obviously that would help because the calculations are that it would have a little strength in its TIF generation.
I'm sorry, as a reminder, when you're talking, will you please talk into your mic and turn your mic on for the YouTube and for this? Thank you.
Yeah, it's not a reminder, that's what I'm telling
Is there a map of this area? I mean, we got a map of this showing what we're proposing to do. Any of that?
Ah,
You can pull it up on Beacon.
yeah, I can pull up Beacon.
I mean, I know where the area is, I just thought maybe there might be a map that drew out what they're doing, but maybe they don't want property lines to be identified.
No, it's been acquired, so it's just the parcel, it's the parcel due east of New Course Towers right now.
To go all the way to the Dover Road.
But east, it's,
you. The Dover Road.
you mean, is it on
It
500?
doesn't go all the way.
Go all the way to the Dover
So what
Road.
goes in there?
Which goes back south.
No, it is not. No.
That's right, that's right. Now, we need to go south, correct? Because we're on Newcore Road. There's Newcore. Oops. Okay, here we go. There's Ladoga Road, 500. More this way,
Map already.
and then this way,
There you go.
correct?
So it's that parcel.
This one?
Highlight, okay.
Okay, 'cause I was thinking 200 acres before we reached that. Well, that's what I thought it was.
How many acres is that?
35.47.
Maybe old facility.
35,467. Yeah, the parcel was identified in the resolution.
That's what I was looking for.
On page 2. It specifically identifies the parcel in the resolution. 35.467 acres. Yeah, there it is.
Okay. Any additional questions, Mr. Peters? Okay, then I think we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Oh, okay. Is anybody from the public to speak? Anybody? All right. We'll go ahead and close the public hearing and move on to new business. Yeah, I have it under, oh. Okay. Okay. So everybody should have the resolution 2026-1. And so we need to approve the resolution. And so I'll entertain a motion and a second to approve resolution 2026-1.
So moved.
A second.
I have a motion by Mr. Ryker, a second by Mr. Booth to approve the resolution as presented. Any questions? Okay. With no questions, I'll call for a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, approved 4-0. Okay. Pass that down for signatures. And then we'll move on to new business, the Towers and Structures Agreement. Do you want to?
Yes, so as you've dealt with before, we asked Lisa Lee to develop a taxpayer agreement for the Newcore Towers, which supports the water line project. And so this, when Newcore Towers applies for tax abatement with our county council, which will be soon, we required that an agreement like this be executed so that if the tax law changes and the, for example, real estate property taxes are eliminated, that we can continue to have the commitment to collect that money that we need to pay the bond. And so we received this we received this from Lisa Lee a couple days after your last meeting. And so my recommendation is that this agreement be delivered to Newcore Towers for their review, which, again, they will review it and they'll send it to corporate, but get that process started with them. This agreement largely mirrors the same taxpayer agreement we sent to Newcore proper for Newcore Coatings. You will note that on at the end of this agreement is the recitation of the cap or the maximum exposure that the towers would be committing to, which are the bond payments. So happy to answer any questions. We really just need kind of your nod to go ahead and deliver this to Newcore is all we're asking for today.
Okay. Any questions anybody has about this? I think, I guess, Mr. Taylor, are you going to take care of delivering this to Nucor Towers, or?
I'd like to take you, and Mr. Dickerson has agreed to go back
Okay.
with this since he's been involved with that and
Okay.
mine, and go down and introduce it to them in person.
All right. Does anybody have any issues with moving forward with taking this to Nucor Towers? Okay. Very good. I think we'll move forward with that. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to staff reports. Mr. Peters.
Thank you. You'll have, as every spring, several obligations for disclosures that we will be putting together and bring to you at your upcoming meetings that look at the financial data. We have previously, in the other RDCs, tried to get like a quarterly report to you. Is that something that you as a newer group still would like to have? That kind of shows where you've come the last year or so, where you're at in the current year, and then we try and look out a couple of years into the future depending on what data that we have. Is that something that you would continue to like us to put together so that you have your pulse on where you're at and headed immediately?
I'd like to have a roadmap.
I think so. Yeah, I think we want to continue with that.
We'll do that when we get the data for the expenditures for the end of the year, and I assume bond payments for the beginning of the year in there. We'll update that and your budget for 2026. Current legislation in those changes was basically to stagnate any amount of TIF revenue going forward except for real development. So we'll reflect that until we have legislative changes or additional information that we know of. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Okay. Well, thank you very much. All right. Next, I have our engineering report. Ryan, I see you're on there.
Yeah, thank you. So in the last month, not a ton has happened, obviously, with it being Christmas and winter time. We are working on Montgomery, to get anything turned over to any measure of all during SoCal. And then on the Nucor, we're going to intersection improvement, including the overpass bridge. We're currently in the stage 3 review process, so that's still on track for July of 2026.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else have any questions? Okay. Very good. Then we'll move on to economic development report. Cheryl Orview.
Good morning, Happy New Year.
Happy New
Sorry,
Year.
not there in person, I was running late in the meeting. Tom and I discussed, and we thought it would be a good idea to keep you all abreast of the kinds of leads that have been coming in on the business extraction side, and then also to give you an update on the CSX select site application that I've been talking about for the last month or so. So since our last meeting, we did have 3 business extraction leads coming in. One was a global biopharmaceutical company. Unfortunately, they were looking for only 15 acres, and as you are most likely aware, the Wiley Site 1, the smallest one can go from down from 130 acres is down to about 40 to 45 acres, because we really want to try to preserve for larger clients like Tempo or someone even just a little bit smaller, and you can start carving it out. The owners does not want to do that, and I concur. So anyway, the other 2, one was a locomotive manufacturer, and they were looking for an existing building, and then the third one was an international electronics manufacturer, and they too were looking for an existing building. And right now, we just do not have that kind of inventory. The good news is, it looks like we're going to have a couple new buildings, well, they're existing buildings, but they're going to the inventory for either purchase or lease. So we'll keep you abreast of that once they come online, we'll get them uploaded into our sites and residence database. The county's RDC website, that data migration, when we talked with Lynn, she was hoping we could get it done before the end of December, and the city's website posts, they did do that, so it's been migrated. We've not gone live with that yet, because some of the information, as she had told you, is a little bit dated. So now that we're past the holidays and the review, all of those pages, there is still some great information that we want to preserve, but I just want to make sure what we're putting out live is as current as can be. So I may be tapping Tom and a couple of other folks just to make sure that we've got the most current data on some of the information that we have in there. And that'll take place this month, and then we'll get it live yet here in January. And then finally, the CSX Select Sites application, I was able to finish that in December. I already had 2 virtual meetings with the CSX review team. And so what happens for those, because I know Chris knew, but this is a rating system for investment-ready land. So the line site one, land that's immediately to the west of Pepper Ceiling, is the site that they're looking at since it's rail accessible. CSX has approached us about going through this process, and what happens is they have a national site selection firm that helps do this review once we complete the application. It's like 200 and some pages, lots of detail about the site, and so the county staff and our utility partners, they were awesome in helping get some of the very detailed questions answered so we could get that plugged into the application. So like I said, it's been reviewed. I had an initial meeting with the CSX team, and we're going to rank fairly high. And so either later this month or in February, we'll have more of a public meeting with you all, and they'll be here. I don't know whether they'll be participating in person or virtually, but this is a big deal, because what happens is once it's reviewed and we can score, and then we receive either levels of platinum, gold, silver, and bronze. I can tell you we will not platinum. There are a lot of things that this site, and they are all beyond our control, that would be required to make it platinum. We'll just see how things go, but I just wanted to set some expectations. We won't, even as competitive as I am, they told me there's just a lot of things we can't control here to make it platinum, so that's all right. So what they'll do is they'll come out, they'll tell us what level we need to be, and then they will market this site all over the country as a rail access site, and there's a special location on their website and all of their partners' website that will elevate this particular location as a CSX Select Sites level, whatever level they award us. So we'll want to partner with them on any press release that they do once we have this public meeting. And Sarah, Summer, our communications director, she'll work with you all to make sure we're coordinating with CSX and sending out the same information at the same time. But I'm very excited. I can't wait. So anyway, I just want to let you know it's done. It's been reviewed. We need, they know what we are. But they'll come out, as I said, sometime either this month or February, have the official unveiling, if you will, of what our award is on the ranking for this site.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate your work on
that and the website. So look forward to more to come on that. So thank you. Mindy, you have some reports for us?
Mindy Myers, County Auditor. I will give you what you have always seen, a gigantic spreadsheet with pretty colors. The reason I say it that way is I would love to get away from this spreadsheet. And since we have very newer people on the committee, I am asking, I also provided a one-page, easy to read, no fancy colors, but
I love it.
awesome. It doesn't give you the detail that the larger spreadsheet does. It's also much easier to read. And what I would like to do in addition to this is send you all via email when we get the, when Lori sends out the meeting or the agenda and stuff, I will attach a ledger report. So you will be able to see a detail of what we have to date. It's just, this is very outdated and it's hard to read. As we go years through the year, it gets bigger and bigger and it's just ridiculous. So I would love your permission to go forward with with emailing a ledger report so you can still see all of the data. I will answer any questions via email, you can call me, whatever. And then just at the meeting itself, I'll give you a very basic balance report for your funds. If that is okay.
I like the idea of the summary, and then you said you're still gonna do.
I will not do this, it'll be in the form of a financial, ledger report out of our financial system.
Sure.
Yeah, and I can sit down with anybody if you have trouble reading that to get started or whatever.
I think this is a good summary,
Yeah.
showing where we're at and what receipts and expenditures we have.
Would it be possible to have the budgeted amount, the expected amount on here?
Not on this. It's just a basic hand report. But I can work on something that would show, you just want to see the appropriations?
Yes.
Okay. Yep, I can do that. I will do anything you want if we can get away from this giant spreadsheet. So,
But then, yeah, I like the idea of the appropriation can be on that December report,
okay.
however you make it work. Do they have any questions on that?
Mindy, is this the ledger report you're talking about?
This is, so we have to, because the funds are kept outside of our system, we have to duplicate everything when we get the region statements every year, or every month. So we literally take this giant stack of region statements, put them in manually into our financial system so we can be tracked through the county. And then we take those ledger reports onto this manual Excel spreadsheet because this was a request of RDC's past because the ledger reports, I mean, they're from our financial system. They're not as easy to read if you're not used to looking at them. All of you are probably a little more tech savvy than past members. So we're just going to go with that. And I have every faith that you'll be able to read our ledger reports from our system.
And then is this a budget report, or is these are actual?
Those are actuals.
Okay, because some of the dates may just be wrong. I had 26 on some of the expenditures.
Oh, that would be me. See, this is why I don't want to redo it. Yeah, it's 25. This is actual. We do not yet have the December reports for regions, so we just have the expenditures. We did have settlement come in. You'll see those numbers on there, and we did get both deficiency payments very timely. So we're in good shape there. But I appreciate you letting me. We can at least try it. How's
Yeah,
that?
let's give it a try and see if it works.
That would be great.
But I do
2026
say
is
I
the best
appreciate
time to
that
do it.
summary.
Yep.
That looks a whole lot better.
Yeah.
So, okay, any other questions? Okay, move on to claims. We have, just one group, it looks like. Am I missing? We just have one group of claims, right? I like that.
Yes. I do
Okay.
actually, sir, before you do that, I do need to add one claim. This is another one for Regions Bank, and it's in the amount of $825. Mindy handed it to me this morning. I was supposed to include it, and I did not, but we do have it. That would change your total to $29,396.71. Feel free to check my math because it's not that great, but thank you.
Okay.
I make a motion to accept the claims with the addition of the $825 for regions. at a total of $29,396.71.
Thank you. A
A second.
A motion by Mr. Ryker, second by Mr. Cox to approve the claims, $29,396.71. Any additional questions? Okay. Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. Claims are approved. And, okay, we want to, Mr. Taylor would like to talk about the Nucor Bridge bond timeline, so.
As promised, I told you I would get this to you, and so this year will be a little busy. We are anticipating, at this time, a bond to be issued by the Redevelopment Authority that will involve the Redevelopment Commission to fund the county's portion of the Nucor Bridge bond, the overpass over 136 on Nucor Road. As you know, bonds are very much a step-by-step process, and so now you have all the steps, believe it or not. So from April to August, at the end of August, there's going to be a lot going on. So we have a little bit of reprieve, but once we get to May, you will have preliminary approvals at your May 12th meeting on this bond. And so I want you to be prepared and be able to kind of know what's happening. This will work like other bonds, but the unusual part is that since the project is being funded primarily by federal and state funds, that the letting, if you go to number 19, 20, 21, they're in the middle, you will see that NDOT will actually award the bids for this project, since it's that kind of a project. And then we have to close that bond quickly on a certain timetable that we usually don't have to deal with. So once those bids are received and awarded on July 10th, the clock starts. And so then we'll go fast on all of the end of the bond process. By the way, this shows you, this is anticipated to be a lease bond, which is much like we did the temper bond. And so it'll involve the Redevelopment Authority and you. And so I wanted you to be able to see kind of what that process looks like. It will involve the county commissioners, the county council, the Redevelopment Authority, and you, although you are the driver for the whole thing. I'll be happy to answer any questions about that. I would also note for you that it appears that you will have some new internal controls that relate to bonds, and the county commissioners are going to consider them between now and your next meeting. I anticipate they'll approve them. State Board of Accounts is becoming more and more interested in how funds derived from bond proceeds are used. I'm not sure they understand it, but they are requiring us to adopt some internal controls, so these internal controls will apply to all bonds that are being issued. So I'll go through them with you next time, and also I'd like to do our annual training next month.
Okay, thank you. And it looks like these are all on our scheduled dates, so very good, thank you. Yeah, okay, thank you. All right, as I look through everything that is up here. Any other business? We got everything accomplished, all right, thank you. All right, with that, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.